Good morning to one and all. A pleasant good morning to all my viewers and listeners. Welcome to another episode of Speaking Out, Exposing Corruption and Incompetence. Today, Wednesday, the 21st day of September, in the year of our Lord 2022. Welcome, one and all. Welcome. Hope you had a pleasant week. Um, hope the last week was a very successful and one for you. But here we are, ready and raring to go again to give you the information that you so much require. My co-host and colleague, Mr. Conway, is already here. No issues this week, no issues last week, no issues this week. We are here and we are ready and raring to go. Well, we will tell you the thing. By now, you know the drill. Share the live stream, share the live, let people know that we are on. Welcome, Vibort again. You were first this morning. Welcome, Vibort. Doreen, you came in class. Second, Squaddy Doreen, all the way from Canada. I see we have Denise, a regular. Raul is here. Winston, Desiree, Bray, Lynette. Orin is here. Orin, welcome. Lynette from Barbados, welcome. And we got Jacko. I think Jacko, you're in Georgia. Wherever you're from, just let us know and welcome, a warm welcome. Francis is here. Roy in class. Yes, Roy in class and ready to go. Cradeline is here. Abdul from Essequibo. Well done, Essequibo in the house. And then we got Mark from Tennessee. Mark from Tennessee is here. The other Raul C. Not Roy C. Raul C. is here as well. And Joan, Petal, the classes, people are reporting to class early and they are here ready because they want to hear the information and they know that we are going to give them the credible, valid information. Lado, welcome, Lado. Sagi all the way from Barbados. Welcome, Sagi. Joe, Nolan. Hey, Nolan, what's up, bro? 16 Nolan, welcome. Ulrich, welcome, Ulrich. Regulars. Ulrich is a regular. Ulrich, cricket playing, man. What you doing? Cricket playing. I know you're taking blows. I know the Warriors taking blows. But cricket playing, I know your man don't miss your cricket. So, Ulrich, I'm sure tonight or sometime you're likely to be there. Adeli, Vibort, all the way from East Bank. Vibort always indicate he's from East Bank. Elias, your report for duty early today, man. You report for duty. Welcome, Samuel, Natasha, William, Neil, Dudley, my friend Dudley from Jamaica. See that you're here, Dudley. Shortman John, welcome. Carol, regular Carol. Lenny, the dance instructor. Lenny is here as well. Lenny, you're going to put in some dance move. Terrence, you're missing out. Nobody ain't taking out the spray from Terrence. And then we get Tessa, not a regular. Tessa, this morning, CC wanted to know if it was you. I had to tell him yes, the one and only Tessa. And people are here. Chris, Marlin. Yeah, man. Keep sharing the live. Keep sharing the live, and we're going to get started in a short while. We have so much to tell you this morning. As indicated in the notification for the program, we are going to continue to follow up on the Orange Boscom allegation. So much has happened in the past week, and we're going to bring the information to you. We're going to analyze the whole thing. Raul, yes, you're doing orientation at work, Raul, and you're still finding time to tune in. That's very nice of you. We are grateful for that. Neil and others. No, Lenny, no. Boka is here since the third person. She came before you. She was even before, just as the program started, just around 11 o'clock. So you know, she's the secretary, she making notes of all those persons who are late, all those persons who are absent. So she ain't going to take the chance. Somebody said from Turkey and watching. Don't let's go there yet. Let me see the comments. Ian is a first-time listener. Thanks, Ian. I'm sure you're going to find it very interesting. And since you're a first-time listener, Ian, if you want to see the previous episodes, go to YouTube. They're all there. And while you're there, just subscribe to the channel. I've been inviting persons to subscribe to the channel to grow the channel and to make it more popular. Audrey Ann. Audrey Ann is in the house. Glenn Ford. Yeah, man. Yeah, let's go, let's go, let's go. Just keep cheering. Paul, my namesake from Canada in the house, another regular. Paul is my namesake from Canada, another regular. Schwartz, Leon is here. Welcome, welcome, welcome to all. Welcome, welcome to all. Now, as I've said, let's share the live. Let's share the live and continue to share. The numbers are mounting, but let's continue to share so that more persons are here. You can always get a few late comers, and we understand that because 11 o'clock in the morning on a work day might not be easy for everybody to come to class on time. But remember, whether you're on, and we noted the attendance in class correlates to the viewing on YouTube. It would appear as if those who can't see the live will go to YouTube and they will see the program. And then we see one of the transcribe posts. We gotta wait for them to, one just join in. He said we talking nonsense. And that's why he's saying we talking nonsense. Well, if you're talking nonsense, why are you here? There, Rukmini, he or she, say we talking nonsense and some craziness he talking. I give him the opportunity to read what he has said. But you're gonna get them, You're gonna get them, you're gonna get the Transies, you're gonna get the Amperians. And the fact that they're coming here means I suspect that they're learning. If it is at all, they can learn. But remember, there's another category, We said recently we find a category, the cockroaches are coming out. Well, they are easy to deal with because if it wants to turn on the light, they're gonna scamper and run back to where they came from. Or those who are still out there, just squash them and you get rid of them. So the cockroaches are easy to deal with. Henry all the way from London. You see Henry all the way from London. Welcome. Gotta be now is what? Now is actually early morning in London. So thanks for taking the time to follow the program. So again, as I say, this is the day that the Lord has made. Let's rejoice and be glad in it. We are fortunate to be in the land of the living, and we must give praise and we must give thanks. We must give praise and must give thanks to the Almighty for allowing us to see a new day and to be here on Speaking Out. So again, continue to share, continue the numbers of mountain, continue to share, and we are going to come to it right away. Let's rejoice and be glad. And to start off, let me just say, for those of you who know over the past 2 weeks or so, it was all about the Queen's death and the funeral. And we said last week, and I'm saying it again, it shows to us that no matter how powerful you are, no matter how great you are, we all have to go one day. And therefore, sometimes you question why people behave in the manner they behave. They fight you down, they tell lies on you, they victimize you, they discriminate against you. And then none of us know the hour. So they do all. And it was a excellent, magnificent display of pomp and ceremony. And when you think about the arrangements that they would have had in place there, 500 odd world leaders, millions of people filing past and lining the streets and all of that, that has to be a wonderful opportunity for us who are in management and planning to look and to learn. To look and learn. We get a little cricket match starting today and people pulling the air out, how they're going to manage and how you can think. London and other parts of the UK, millions of people for days. And as I've said, that funeral was excellent. That funeral arrangement there, all the pomp, the ceremony, the precision, everything well choreographed, well rehearsed. And kudos to the British or the English, whatever you want to call it. Kudos to them. And I'm hoping that many others would have looked at it and learned and would have seen that as a reference. So continue to share the life. Continue to share the life. Welcome, Canty. I see you came in a little late. We have made a note in the diary that Canty came in a little late, and we're going to deal with that at some subsequent time. We're going to deal with it, but we did make a note. And then last week, we did tell you that one of my mentor, I would say the great Francis Duncan Clark, passed. And information now is that he's going to be buried on the 28th. That's next Wednesday. I'll give you, well, let me give you it now because the 28th, I think the funeral service will be at Memorial Gardens. You know that is the place in the cemetery there. Memorial Gardens, 12:30. The funeral, the service will be there, and he's going to be buried shortly after. And the repast is going to be at the Guyana Legion, I think sometime during the course of the afternoon. So those of you who want to go to the funeral to say, I know a lot of people who are around will make it their duty to be there because he was a great man and he positively impacted many of us. Many of us would have been positively impacted by his wisdom, his presence. So please, I'm just passing on the information. The family passed the information to me, and I feel obliged to pass it on to you. So it's next Wednesday, the 28th of September at the Memorial Gardens. Now let me bring in my colleague, co-accused, whatever you want to call it, Mr. Connery. CC, good morning.
Good morning, Paul. Good morning, viewers, listeners. Happy to be in the land of the living and happy to be around to do the work of the Lord because you can't do law enforcement without God, Paul.
Yeah, so true. So true. And the big man, well, not the big man, one man said recently at an activity that nothing, God is in charge of everything. They know that conveniently, there's a convenient saying that they know to cry out that God is in charge. But he is in charge, and he is the one who woke up, caused us to wake up this morning, and he is going to order our day, and he's going to smile on some of us. Well, he smiles. I say he's very merciful, so he's going to smile on all of us. And we have to give praise, and we have to give thanks. So welcome, CC. Welcome. Now, one of the things I want to start with is to update our viewers on the Police Service Commission matter. You recall, and I'm talking about the suspension of the Police Service Commission, which I chaired. Mr. Conway was a member, and the others. Remember, you recall on the 16th of June last year, the president suspended the commission. I'm not going to go into all the reasons and all of that, but we challenged the suspension in court, and Justice Gino Prasad earlier this year ruled that the matter, well, after it was a long process in that when the application was filed, the president was named as a respondent. That was challenged and by the Attorney General, and the judge agreed that the president should not have been named, so he ordered that it be removed. And when we attempted to move forward with the matter, then the Attorney General filed an application for the matter to be struck out, claiming that the Police Service Commission life had ended at that time. Long legal arguments and all of that. And the judge ruled earlier this year that notwithstanding the fact that the Police Service Commission life came to an end, the matter was of sufficient public interest, and that he ordered then that Paul Sloat be substituted in the place and stead of the Police Service Commission. The Attorney General appealed that to the full court, and the full court ruled in favor of Paul Sloat, and they made one modification to the judge's ruling. Instead of substituting Paul Sloat in the place and stead of the Police Service Commission, the full court ruled that Paul Sloat must be added as an applicant. So I'm an applicant in that matter. And then the Attorney General sought leave of the full court to appeal the matter to the appeal court, Guyana's appeal court. He wanted to take it all the way. It's about delay. And the full court denied him permission, so he couldn't take it any further. Now, what has happened since is that the Police Service Commission then retained an attorney, and they are now trying to have the matter struck out, so that the Police Service Commission has no interest in pursuing this matter any further. And we are saying, fine, no problem with that, but Paul Slow is there as an applicant, and Paul Slow has an interest in making sure that the substantive matter, that is the challenge to the suspension of the Police Service Commission, is heard and determined on its merits. Now, there are a lot of legal stuff, and the Attorney General arguing that the cases before the Chief Justice in relation to the appointment of the chairman of the Police Service Commission, which was challenged, would have impacted on whatever decision was to be made in this matter. But yesterday, the matter came up before Justice Gino Prasad for report. The lawyers reported, gave oral report, and the stage now is that the Attorney General is given, I think, until the 14th of October to make a written response, to make his written arguments. Then my lawyers, Mr. Selwyn Peters, Mr. Dexter Todd, and Mr. Dexter Smart, will have 14 days, and they have to then reply to whatever the Attorney General advances by the 18th of October. And then the case will come up again before the judge. I suspect he's going to make a ruling then on the 11th of November. So that is where that matter is. And I say this all to tell you, this matter, the Attorney General and the President, they are fighting to make sure that the substantive matter, which deals with the President's suspension of the Police Service Commission on the 16th of June, they don't want that matter ventilated in the court. They don't. So if you look back at tapes, you're going to hear the Attorney General saying that the President acted constitutionally and all of that. But yet still, they don't want the matter to be ventilated in a court. But we are in it. I am in it for the long haul. I am an applicant in the matter, and I have no desire of pulling out. The matter must be determined so that the legal precedent can be set and properly established. So let me add that. So I thought I'll bring you up to date with that, because many times people want to know. Because remember, this, if you recall too, on the 28th of June, 2021, when the Chief Justice struck out the application brought by Brutus and others challenging the promotion that was made, that was to be made on December the 31st, 2020, the Police Service Commission then went in and promoted 132 persons. The government decided that they are not going to be recognizing the promotion. So you have several ranks, several persons who were promoted back in July 2021 with different dates. And this time around, when this service commission promoted persons on or around the 1st of July this year, many of those persons were left out. So they have an interest. They are affected. So we will make sure that the matter continues to its logical conclusion. CC, you want to say anything on that? I know you would have read, you're a man who reads widely.
I am in full agreement with you, and we must not let up. If it means we have to go all the way to the apex court, we go in there because we have a case. And I said it over and over. It might sound like I monotonous, but we're saying they have flagrantly violated the letter, spirit, and intent of some of the most sacrosanct constitutional procedure. And I maintain that all the time, Paul.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, you say we have a case. Indeed, we have. What we have is not only a case, we have a very strong case. We have a very strong case, and I suspect they recognize that. That is why they are doing everything, all sort of legal gymnastics to make sure that the matter is not going to be ventilated. So we are in it. We are in it. Yeah. And I'll keep you folks updated as we go along and with this matter. I'll keep you updated because I know a lot of people are interested. People would reach out to me to find out what is the position. because you know things go, as I speak about these matters with limited shelf life. It's in the media, in the newspapers and so on for a day or two, and then you don't hear anything about it any longer. So, for example, in today's Starbuck News, there's a story there about the same what took place in the court yesterday, and that is gonna die out after a short while. So I have a responsibility to keep you, my loyal viewers, informed, and I will continue to do so. The next thing I want us to touch briefly, well, that's just a mention about all the crimes and the accidents. I mean, every day, this morning I woke up to the news of this murder suicide on the East Coast. And then you look at the news too, fatal accident. Almost every day there is a fatal accident. And people running around the place are doing all sort of propaganda work. And I don't think they are addressing the main issues. I mean, let me understand that with the amount of suicide and domestic violence, that is not directly a police, it cannot relate directly to the police, but it's an issue for the authorities to understand. People under a lot of pressure and people just lash out, frustration or whatever it is, people lash out. And I mean, this morning there's a report where the man chop up his stepson, I think it is, chop his reputed wife, and then he killed himself. Initially, he had said he died, then they came back to say no, he had not died. But I understand that he has succumbed to his injuries, and his wife is critical in the hospital. Well, I think we want to take this opportunity. I want to take this opportunity to pray for a speedy recovery. And again, the accidents up to 2 days ago, accident every day, some fatal accident. Every day, some fatal accident, and you're not seeing any proper plan to deal with the lawlessness on the roads of Guyana. I have not seen any proper plan. Mr. Conway, you want to comment?
The big issue is, Paul, is how those guys get their driver's license. I remember Rohan Singh wrote a letter a few months ago. Rohan Singh was the head of the presidential guard, and he was head of the audit and inspection unit. And he talked about massive corruption with the loan of drivers package and the issuing of driver's license. Perhaps those things have been placed under the no action or red carpet. How do they get their license? He mentioned potentially 1,157 killers have been let loose on our road. I think the figure is greater. Maybe, Paul, on our next episode, we can talk about the driver's license.
Yeah, I think it will be a good thing to address the whole process, because I believe, like you, this thing, these interventions from now and again, a campaign now and a campaign then, is not going to solve the problem. The problem is more, is bigger than that. The whole system has to be reviewed, and maybe yes, we should dedicate one of our episodes to address this issue relating to the lawlessness on the road. As I have said before, and people know, I was a traffic chief on 2 occasions, so I think I get a little understanding of how the system works, and by extension, what can be done to improve the system. People talk about increasing fines. I saw the road safety people, and even I think the Attorney General talking about increased fines. Only recently, I saw we spoke about suspension and revocation of driver's license. I mean, it has to be a comprehensive program. And I've said before, the old thing when you examine it, where police are responsible for driver's license and police are responsible for certifying motor vehicles, that has to change. That part of the whole plan, part of the whole revamping of this system must deal with that. So yes, we may want to look at it, dedicate a program so we can do all our research and we can bring it. And you would note, in the past, they used to release accident figures, so many fatal accidents, so many serious accidents. I have not seen any figures in the longest while, but figures are just that. figures are just that, because what happens, accident reduce, let's say accident reduce, and then people celebrate, oh, accident reduce, but they're not examining to see what has caused the reduction, or even when there's an increase, what has caused the increase, so that proper targeted action can be taken. So yes, we will look at that at some stage. Now, welcome. I see some other people. Kim is here now. Benny, yes, well, Benny is saying, Benny saying they get a license and the two of us watch. Another, I'm disappointed in Benny if it's the same Benny, because the Benny I know supposed to be somebody who is a thinker. Benny, I left traffic in the year 1999 or 2000, something around then. I left traffic. So 22 years ago. I retired from the force in 2010, 12 years ago. So go back and do your own work, brother. Go back and do your own work. And I'm disappointed in you, Benny. If it's a Benny that I know, Benny from Essequibo, Benny from Born Better, if it's not Benny, I am disappointed in the comments that you made. But it's your right. I mean, you get the right to make whatever comment, as foolish as they might seem. So you're going to have them, you're going to have them. You're going to have them. So, Mr. Conway, the next issue that is in the news really is the Boscom matter. That ain't going away. And it should not. That is not going away, and it should not. When last we spoke about it, last Wednesday, we were advised during the course of the program that private criminal charges under the Cybercrime Act were filed against him. I have seen now where they have stated 3 charges have been filed against him. I understand that there might be additional charges that were filed against him somewhere on the East Coast. See what you hear about that matter?
I didn't hear anything about East Coast, but understand charges were filed. But then looking at the other side of the issue, where he had initiated charges against the crime chief, and the DPP wrote the magistrate to discontinue that charge without finding out the reason or reasons why those charges were initiated, without talking to the man, without talking to the lawyer, just on our own decided I withdraw the charges. Unheard of, Paul, unheard of. I'm going to talk more about it later, but unheard of.
Yeah, well, based on what I've seen in the social media and the daily news, 3 charges. The one that I saw, and I'll be talking about the Cybercrime Act, this act which is selectively used to prosecute, not only prosecute, but to prosecute our persons. One of the charge claims that all the charges under the Cybercrime Act is that he used a computer device to embarrass, to humiliate, and to harass persons. The 2 persons in this case, I think, are the head of the Major Crime Unit, Mr. Superintendent Mitchell Caesar, and Chabinat Singh. I think he's in charge of the crime at Brickdam or in a division. That is what they are claiming. But when I looked at this thing seems so outrageous, because in one charge, they say that he used this thing at CID. He did this act, the place of the commission of the act, the CID headquarters, and then the other one claims that he is at Field Street, someplace at Field Street. Well, we know that he had a press conference with his lawyer. Boscom had a press conference with his lawyer, and the lawyer's office is located in Field Street. So I don't know if that is what they're using, but interestingly, I saw a letter, I think it might have been Monday, in the newspaper, and the author is said to be Mr. Robin Singh, and I'll go into it a little later. But even when as I said, when you look at the place of offense and the particulars, I mean, it's amazing. It is amazing. And as I've said too, this cybercrime thing is very, very selectively enforced. So you have a situation now where a man called a man a trench crapper. Cybercrime. A man says what he believes to be the truth, that this matter is being covered up and bribe pass for the covering up of this action. And cybercrime law, people feel harassed, humiliated, threatened, and therefore they go to the DPP, and the DPP recommends criminal charge against these persons. And I say that the Cybercrime Act is selectively enforced because, as I reminded persons or I informed viewers last week, on the 15th of October 2021, I made a report at the Breakdown Police Station, which was temporarily housed at St. Stanislaus, where the Attorney General, the current Attorney General, on a program on NCN, used a computer system. And he referred to myself and other members of the Police Service Commission as anarchists. He referred to me specifically as a Bajan. And a Bajan, for those of you who know, is a reference to a notorious criminal from Trinidad. And then he went on to say, and listen to this carefully, and these things are on record, he went on to say that people like me have no place in a society governed by the rule of law. That is what he went on to say. A report was made, a statement was submitted, the transcript of the offending program was given to the police. And on today, like today, nothing. They never called me to, and I don't know what has happened. Nothing. Like we talk about the 15th of October 2021. And here it is. Boscom make a statement where he's exposing, where he's a whistleblower and exposing corruption at the major crime unit. He's exposing a cover-up in a very big murder. And the man is charged under the cybercrime law. He's charged under the cybercrime law. And as Mr. Conway pointed out a while ago, he in turn charged his lawyer instituted a charge against the crime chief under the same crime act, because they're saying that when he had the press conference and he called Boscom a liar, and there's evidence to prove that Boscom was not a liar, that too is a violation. And the DPP discontinued the matter. The DPP discontinued the matter. Mr. Conway, help me out here, man.
Paul, I'm really disappointed with the DPP. And let me read something from the book that I borrowed from you, Peril, by Bob Woodward and Robert Costo. And Peril analyzed the events on January 6, 2021 in Washington, where Donald Trump and his people, with deadly consequences, attempted to overturn the election in the United States of America. And I read it from page 27 because it has some parallels, it has some similarity in Guyana. And here's what they say. Criminal prosecutions has one rigorous standard: proof beyond a reasonable doubt. That was the basis in which someone was charged or not charged. Barr said it was in the interest, Barr was the Attorney General. Barr said that it was in the interest of the President, the White House, the Attorney General, and the Justice Department to keep a wall between criminal justice decisions and politics. He said he had learned this for the first time he was Attorney General. There could be no exceptions, and he could not tolerate any effort by anyone to break through that wall. It was the one absolute. Just so it is clear, Barr said again that he would not tolerate the president trying to monkey around with the criminal justice process, who to prosecute, who not to prosecute. I do not want to hear that, Barr said. If there's something that's appropriate for you to know, I'll tell you. Trump acknowledged Barr's declaration, but Barr was not sure that the president understood it. There are similarities in Guyana. The DPP is the supreme authority in dealing with criminal procedures. Files has to go to the DPP for advice for legal action to be taken. And I remember when the Henry Green case, where Henry Green rushed to the court when the DPP had advised the police to charge him with rape. And it was the acting Chief Justice Ian Chang. He said, come and tell me why you decided to charge Henry Green. And they couldn't come up with anything. So the impression I get now is that in many occasions, that when the matters come to the DPP will just refer it, let the judge and jury deal with it, or let the magistrate deal with it. If the DPP is the supreme authority and there is any queries there, the DPP should send it back to the investigators to clear them up. And if when it comes back, she's not certain, null pros, don't advise that action, criminal action be taken. The DPP, I repeat, is the supreme authority, and justice must not be done. Justice must not appear to be done. Justice must be properly done. The rule of law must prevail. Many, many matters appear to be political. I mentioned last week where the DPP had advised that Ashley Singh be charged, that the Attorney General be charged, that Ephraim Ali be charged, that Mike Breslin be charged. Several charges say they have enough evidence. Up comes the election, a change of government, and the DPP null pros. Now they're using Suku as a political arm of whichever government is in power. Right now, or as we speak, there are several charges, unjust charges against members of the opposing political party. The DPP must be fair, and if there's no evidence, stop it right there. Don't send it for a magistrate to deal with. Don't send it to a judge to deal with. Up to yesterday, I read in the papers where a murder accused went free because the only thing the police had was a confession that the person made, an oral confession made, and the judge threw it out. And the police must not depend on oral confession or confession of that. They must find connecting evidence. They must they must do proper investigation, meticulous investigation to find the evidence. Don't depend on confession and confession alone, because when the confession goes through the window, there goes the case also. Too many persons reaching the High Court, and the DPP has got to review those files before committal. And lo and behold, they go before a judge and jury, and the prosecutor saying, we have no evidence available. It is ridiculous, Paul.
Well, indeed, it is ridiculous. Indeed, it is ridiculous. Before I think, I see a comment from Dave saying, he's saying that we must, we want to know what solution or recommendation. Apparently, he's not listening properly. In terms of the traffic, we gave some recommendations and some solutions. In terms of what Mr. Conway just commented on, the DPP recommendations and solutions are there as well. So, Mr. Singh, or whatever your name is, read again, listen properly, and understand. Because apparently some people are not blessed with the ability to listen, to hear, to read, and to understand. We're talking about all the time solutions are offered. It is for the authorities to listen and to take, and we said to look at it carefully and to see how best the problem can be addressed. Because when we talk about traffic, for example, when we talk about crime, most people, the majority of Guyanese wants to have a solution. They want to have a solution, and this is for the government to lead the way in providing solutions. So don't come on this live and just say things because maybe you're from that category. Don't just come and say things because we're going to take you up on it. Now, in terms of coming back to the DPPCC, I agree what you said. That used to be the standard because, first of all, there are several layers before this matter get to court. Let's start at the division and the subdivision level. When these matters are investigated by CID or whoever, you have subdivisional officers, you have the commander will go through the file. I know when I was commander and I commanded several divisions, you read the file, you say, no, 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 this thing and making it, you turn it back, it ain't going forward. But you understand the culture is now that once the file comes, the commanders, most of them, if not all of them, are what we call conveyor belts. They just send the thing on to the crime chief, and that's part of the conveyor through. They don't turn back at that stage. It goes on to the DPP, and the DPP then says to charge or not to charge. And in many cases, as you pointed out, when the DPP said charge, as we have come to see, there is no evidence. Matter get all to the way to the court, to the high court. People charge of murder and other offenses, and only to air at the when it get to the high court, comments from the judge supported by the prosecution that there was never ever any evidence in this case. So where are we going? You referred to the one a while ago. The only evidence is a confession, some oral confession. And this thing went through a preliminary inquiry. It would have gone to the DPP. The DPP must have seen that and order committal to stand trial at the assizes, and only to be told now the matter is struck out because the only evidence that was there is a confession, and the confession couldn't stand muster. Where are we going? Where are we going? And another thing with it, and it is clear that the DPP has been overreaching. The CCJ said that, not me. The CCJ said that. You remember the Marcus Bisram matter,
Yeah.
where the magistrate in the case struck out the matter because he said that there was no prima facie case. The DPP instructed the magistrate to open and commit because the law says that she can do that, but not because the law says that she can do it. She can do it in a very arbitrary and capricious manner. You have to have reason. So when the matter reached all the way to the CCJ, the CCJ ruled that the order was unlawful. As a matter of fact, the CCJ said that section of the law is unconstitutional. That section of the law is unconstitutional. And in the coming to the current case with Boscom, a private criminal charge is filed against the crime chief. And according to the Boscom's lawyer, the DPP never requested from him the evidence that he's going to use to support this charge. Never asked what evidence you have. And she decided to discontinue the proceedings. Now, on what grounds? On what grounds are you discontinuing the proceedings when you have not seen the evidence that the lawyer intends to use in this prosecution? I mean, this thing is outrageous. The lawyer has indicated that he is going to challenge it. He's going to take it. He's going to have the judicial review. And we should all, as law-abiding and reasonable people, look forward to that. We should look forward to the review to hear what is going to be said. And then the comparison was made with this matter and the Shannon Ballers matter. Because if you recall, Shannon Ballers brought private criminal charges against the attorney, I think Yorvan Singh or that. And the DPP discontinued that as well. Now, it is said that in that case, at least she would have had the file that was prepared by the police because Shannon Ballers had an investigation, a file was prepared and sent for legal advice, and they had advised not to charge Mr. Singh, but then Ballers' sure attorney brought private criminal charges. So the argument is that at least she had a file and she would have seen statements. But in this Boscom case, there is no police file. There is no police file. All you would have had is what the lawyer as evidence. So on what basis did the DPP discontinue proceedings? On what basis? So let's look forward to this legal challenge to clarify the issue and whether the DPP is using the authority in a very sensible, a very judicious manner. We should wait to see how that will go. Mr. Conway?
Yeah, and there's also a very important part in the criminal investigation, the right to be heard. You have to hear the other side of the story. And that right, I said over and over again, it's a God-given right. It started in the beginning. It started in Genesis when Adam and Eve committed themselves, although the Lord knew what took place. He called them and asked them what play out before he passed judgment. So you must hear the other side of the story. And the point I raised earlier, that there must be a separating wall between the law enforcement and politics. And nobody must be allowed to monkey around or to push down that wall. That wall must be there in the interest of justice and fair play.
Well said, CC. Let me go back to Dave. I think it's big of you, because Dave is. I made the point that Dave Singh said that we're not making recommendations and solutions, and he said that he's thanking me for clearing it up, because he said that he might have joined a little late and may not have heard. So Dave accepted. We accept that, Dave. But just to say that when we come on this program, my colleague and I, we try to not only highlight the issues, but we try to provide solutions, what can be done. We have vast experience, and we try to use our experience to point the way, point them. And as we have said before, you might not know this, but we have said the reason why we are using this medium is because in the past, we would have been invited to speak to the senior people and other people in the force. But we are now considered person non grata. They're not going to invite us. But we still have a love for the organization. We have a love for our country. And we feel that the information should be passed on. So we're using this medium to pass on the information. That is what it's about, Mr. Singh. And again, I'm glad that you came back to clarify. Now, you made the point, CC, about the right to be heard. Now, there are cases, and I say cases, plural, where persons are charged. The DPP recommends charge for persons, and those persons are never interviewed. Those persons are never questioned in relation to allegation made. So you have a situation now where a person can go to a police station and make a report, and you can find yourself before the court without the police asking you anything. There are several cases like that. Police don't have to ask you anything. A report is made, a file is put together, it goes to the DPP, and the DPP said charge. How can that be? How can that be? You, as you rightly pointed out, an allegation is made against a person. Even before you decide to charge, you ought to ask the person, put the allegation to them, and hear what they have to say before you go in. But that is no longer the norm. That is no longer the norm. And I'm sure, CC, you're aware of matters like that.
Yeah, plenty matters, man. Even all our matter before the court, same thing. Your matters, same thing. And I wanted to know what kind of investigators do we have. I got to talk it, and I want to make it public. I remember in my time, our time as commandos, we had excellent investigators. I'll always remember Senior Superintendent Philip Armstrong. He used to write more than the DPP, and the junior ranks used to be afraid to send the file to him. They used to try to bypass it and send it to me as commando, and I used to send it to the DDO. DDO, your comments, please. So I'm gonna write back to him, and he used to write more than the DPP. I don't know if they get them kind of investigators now. They're just sending for advice. Commander for advice, for advice, for advice. No comments.
But that is so true. That is so true. And that has crept in a long time now, where you have commanders. And I dare anyone to challenge. I am saying now, without any fear of successful contradiction, a large percentage, maybe 90% of the commanders now, when files come to them, even the detective officers, nobody reads and make comments and asks for clarification in matters. DPP legal advice. In many cases, the matters are not within the purview of the DPP. I know when I was there and those matters came, I used to deal with them as commanders. I remember an issue with the DPP too, where the DPP was seeking to instruct on an issue relating to a firearm. And those records are there for the officers who want to do the research. There was a man in Middle Road Penitence who had the reputation of misusing his firearm. And on one occasion, he threatened someone. They came to make a report, and we decided the investigation was done, and the file went to DPP for advice as to whether criminal charges should be preferred. And the DPP, it came back. The man had a certain name, which tells you the religion that he's in. The DPP sends back the file to me to say that no charge should be preferred against this man and the firearm should be returned. Well, y'all check the record, I tell you plain that you being the authority on criminal prosecutions, we will not or we cannot charge the person, but as it relates to the return of the firearm, you have no power, you have no authority to deal with that. That is an issue for us, the police, to deal with. And I, at that stage, initiated proceedings to revoke the firearm license. She run around all over the place, call this body, I think the commissioner, I tell them, say, hey, DPP can't instruct me to return a firearm. When the file went to the DPP has to deal with the criminal aspect. The returning of the firearm to the license owner, that is a police issue. That is not a matter for the DPP to pronounce on. And those five, I mean, I remember well when I was to retire, I found that document and I shared it with some of the officers who were there. I shared it with some of them for their guidance and the knowledge. So everything is DPP, everything in DPP. So let me understand this. And Mr. Chan, the late Ian Chan, told me quite clearly, we had several discussions. He said, look, the law makes it clear when you have to get the advice from the DPP before you can proceed with a charge. There are certain sections which says that no charge can be laid without the fiat of the DPP. He told us outside of that, outside of those charges, the police it is within the powers of the police to institute charges before sending any file to DPP. I mean, DPP can discontinue if they want, but you don't have to rely on the DPP. And I have come to see simple cases, wounding, assault, and all them everything where the evidence is clear. Legal advice. So the DPP has taken over that. The DPP has taken over that because in many cases the police have allowed the DPP to do that. I don't know if that is your experience, CC.
Yeah, I had experience. And apart from that, Paul, the thing is about reading reports. Police might send some excellent reports. And when you go through the statements, there's nothing there. There are no elements to support any criminal charge. I remember my good friend Compton Richardson, who was once a police legal advice, and he said he get caught one time. And when the file comes to him, he reads his statements before he goes to the report. So maybe people just reading a report and not looking at statements to see whether there are elements there to support criminal charge.
Well, exactly, but you know, and that you made an excellent point there because reports are written, and many commanders and the at whatever levels, whether it's the CID commander, division branch commander, not subdivisional commander, they look at the report and they go with what the report says. But you are correct. You have to look at the statements. First of all, you have to know what are the elements required to prove a particular charge.
Yeah.
What are the elements to prove a charge? And those elements have to be revealed from statements taken from either victim or witnesses.
Yeah.
So if you get a man come and write some Nancy story, which I understand happens a lot now, no, this is not supported because at the end of the day, it is not the report that is going before the court, but it's the statements, and the persons who gave those statements have to go and give evidence. So we got to understand this for those policemen who are listening. But we see the time running, but we're gonna go. You know, we don't normally go. Let me advise the viewers. We normally, once we have the issue, we'll exhaust the issue. We're not gonna cut you off. We're not gonna cut you off. I'm coming back to the Boscom matter. When I looked at the one charge relating to Chabinat Singh, and Mr. Robin Singh pointed it out. This thing is amazing. I look and I look and I look. Maybe there's something else that is not in the public domain. But the only time Chabinat Singh's name is mentioned in all that Boscom said. He said that when Caesar told him to go to arrest Mark Richmond, Caesar called Chabinat Singh, and Caesar said to Chabinat Singh, look, I said in Boscom and I think Bacon tomorrow morning to go and arrest a man, you must give him a backup, you must give him some patrol. That is the only time Chabinat Singh, and for that, for mentioning Chabinat Singh in that context, Chabinat Singh feel threatened, harassed, humiliated, and therefore a cybercrime charge is filed against Boscom. Based on that, and then the man appears in court last week and pleaded not guilty to the charges. And the state prosecutor, someone named Moore, I don't know him, the man objected to bail. Now we have cases, recent cases in Guyana, where persons are charged for manslaughter, where persons kill people, charged for manslaughter. And these people are put on bail immediately. And this is a police sergeant who is accused of harassing or humiliating or embarrassing police. And the state prosecutor, the man who represents the state, is applying to the court for bail to be refused. This is remarkable. Mr. Conway, help me out here again.
Maybe he was just talking for his money, you know. Because I know in Suku cases, they used to pay them 5,000 US for each case that they prosecute. I don't know how much this lawyer got. So he may be just talking trash. And then he's saying the man got a visa and he gonna go away. And the magistrate asks, visa for which country? He doesn't know. And even the magistrate too, Paul. Magistrate is say he must lodge his passport and he must report to a certain location at a certain time on certain days. This is a man under threat. His life and limbs are in peril. And you're going to publicly say on X day, he must report to the white place, as the case may be. You are exposing him to more danger than anything else. People not sensitive of what is likely to happen, man. Give me a break.
Well, yes, I saw that too. And you know, it's amazing. But then we say, Guyana is not a real place. A man who makes a disclosure, who is a whistleblower, and whose life can be in peril, goes to court on some nonsense charge about Cybercrime Act, where people say they were embarrassed and feel threatened by remarks, by allegations he made against them. And the court is as instructed that he should report at a police location at a particular time on a particular date. But I don't know where we are going. So in other words, at least people who might want to harm him know that on this particular day, he has to, around a particular time, he has to be at a particular location. Man, look, this thing is really, really, really ridiculous. Really, really ridiculous. And to say that the reason why you are opposing bail because a man get a passport and the passport get a visa in it, and that you heard that he going around the place asking for money. I mean, again, this thing is laughable. And I make this point because I have friends around the Caribbean and elsewhere, and very often they ask me what really is going on in Guyana. They cannot believe that a law enforcement agency and the courts behaving in an office like the DPP's office, behaving in the manner that they are behaving. They cannot believe it, but tell them, well, it is true. It is true. Many times when they read this thing, they would ask me if it is true. And I will tell them yes. And I am not only telling them yes because I see it there, because you would follow up and get credible information to confirm the issue. So that is where we are. And I remarked earlier about the Robin Singh letter. And let me say this. If it's the same Robin Singh, I know Robin Singh used to be with the cricket board. I think he was a candidate for the PPPC at the last general election, 2020 election. And so therefore, when I saw the letter from Robin Singh, I had to read it. And you got to say kudos to you, Robin. Kudos to you. Because wrong is wrong. Wrong is wrong. And let me read some excerpts from what Robin wrote. Robin said, and this letter was published, I think it was Monday. He said the veracity of Sergeant Boscom's statement is already the subject of a libel lawsuit brought by businessman Azardin Mohammed and Mitchell Caesar. I'm not sure if Caesar has brought any lawsuit as yet, but that is what Robin, I'm quoting Robin, which is the traditional way of inquiry. Of course, if you feel a man call your false name or the man defaming you, you bring a lawsuit. He said, interestingly, in instructing the dismissal of Boscom private criminal charge against the Ghana Police Force's crime chief, Wendell Blanham, the DPP has also decided on Blanham's innocence without a cursory examination of any evidence. That is what we were saying. Without the examination, so it is to decide to charge Boscom on whatever statement Caesar and Singh would have given. And without seeing any statement from Boscom in relation to the crime chief, she has instructed to withdraw the proceedings. Amazing, amazing. And then he goes on to say that the Guyanese can now be charged for speaking what she deems to be the truth at a press conference is unfathomable. For it to have been on the recommendation of the Director of Public Prosecution is abominable. And of course, I refer to the Marcus Bisram case earlier. Again, kudos, Robin. We have to call out these wrongdoings when we see it. And I think Robin is on point. Robin is on point. Because here it is. The DPP has instructed charges against, well, let me say this clear. We know from all the reporting that even before the RSS and all of that, it was leaked that the DPP had recommended 7 charges. So we know it's the DPP. But even if you want to argue that maybe it is not the DPP, as was pointed out earlier, the DPP has the authority, just as she did with the charge against the crime chief, to discontinue the proceedings. So it doesn't have any merit, and she can discontinue as she did with Nirvan Singh, as she did with Blanham. And Raul, you're correct, because when the magistrate tells you to go to a particular place at a particular time of regards to the fact that you are threatened, she is funneling, that is the word that Raul uses. She is funneling Boscom to a particular a place. She is funneling him to a particular place, maybe inadvertently, but to make whoever want, make the task of whoever want to do him harm much easier. Now, the next thing that we want to talk, and this letter that I'm talking about, Robin Singh, it is entitled the Orwellian Dystopia of the Cybercrime Act. And I know people are going to say, well, the Cybercrime Act was passed under the previous administration, but you would also note that the previous administration at the time, well, no, let me put it that way, let me rephrase that at the time the previous administration was in power, no one was charged under the Cybercrime Act. But this is now weaponized. It is now weaponized. So the mere fact that we are talking here, the next thing you might hear that we offend someone feel offended, and we might end up with a cybercrime charge. Now, Mr. Conway, sir, delving further into this Boscom matter, we know from the reporting in the media that the lawyer, Mr. Nigel Hughes, wrote to the president for protection under the Cybercrime Act. He wrote to and the president did say, well, he didn't respond to that, we understand. He never responded to that. But I overheard the president speaking to the media when they asked him about the RSS or the RASS, whatever you want to call it. He said that they were here and they were going to do a review. And when they asked about the report, he said, well, he wasn't sure when the report was done, but the police will be asked to make the report available. And then subsequent to that, we see the Ministry of Home Affairs put out what they say the report contains, the key points of the report. And then no sooner than that came out, we saw a headline in the out here in the Cybercrime News said that, that was last Tuesday. It was reported in Cybercrime News that a foreign security team was in Guyana assessing Boscom's claims. What really is going on with this report? One, from the RASS, the report that was to be released by the police. I saw Mr. Hughes has written to the Commissioner of Information for the release. Help me out, Tema. What has happened to that?
Paul, this thing is so secretive. And the thing is that there are more questions than answers. And when the police started to deal with secrecy, the little public confidence that they got will die away, because the public will not have confidence in the police. And we all know when there is no public confidence in the police cannot be efficient and effective, because there are people there who are not going to hear, people eyes who will not see, people nose who will not smell, people with tongues who will not speak, people with hands who will not write a letter, people with feet who will not go to a location and give information, because there is no public confidence. So what they're doing, they're further eroding the very little public confidence that we have in the police force. And let me get back to Boston. Here's it. A man who has been in the belly of the police force, coming forward, spilling the beans, breaking down the blue wall of silence, and blowing the whistle. And instead of them listening to him, they have developed an attitude to prove what he's saying is not the truth. He's lying, or according to the crime chief, to debunk what he's saying. Last week I mentioned about a prostitute, a drug addict in New South Wales, who brought down the New South Wales police, the most decorated cop, the cop with 13 major awards, was the most crooked cop ever in the New South Wales police. And the information came from a prostitute, from a strumpet. And Paul, you might remember this word in local terms, from a wabbin.
Yeah, well, that was a sparrow. That was a sparrow word, man. Give me the wabbin any day. That's what wabbin. Yeah, but let me say this: the New South Wales authorities could have taken that action because they wanted to get to the bottom of what was going on. And I have said it before, and I'm saying it again. The reason why we have this fiasco in Guyana is because the authorities do not want to get to the bottom of this matter, and because it is my view, the reason why they don't want to get to the bottom of the matter is because they're going to be touched. Because again, if you investigate Boscom's allegation about corruption at a particular location in the police force, maybe you have to then, with the same zest and gusto, investigate Sue. I mean, we tend to forget. We tend to forget that. But that was long before Boscom's allegation and the Vice News report, in which the vice president is accused of corruption. No investigation, and they mechanized, and no investigation. And I say this again. I said it in respect to the Boscom matter. All of these cybercrime charges and all of these wool that you're trying to throw over people's eyes, the only way to clear your name, I said this to the businessman, I said it here for the information of the businessman, I'm saying it here again for the information of the vice president. The only way you can clear your name is to have a credible investigation. Because no matter what happens, there's going to be a monkey on your back. People are going to look at you with a lot of suspicion. And not only people in Guyana, people abroad. I understand a statement was made recently that the Vice News revelation might not have impacted on credibility. And you talk about long ago, the Lara, that's what we used to say in the country, Lara, that must impact on the credibility of the individual and the credibility of the nation. The same thing with the Boscom report, Mr. Conway.
Yeah, Paul. It's ridiculous. You're talking about transparency. You're talking about being open. Let us have the commission of inquiry. Let us have people there to inquire into the matter. Who sue? Even the Boston and all, there's a conspiracy theory that the members of the CID are in bed with a certain businessman who belongs to a certain religion. Boscom, they saying, is friendly with a certain businessman who is religiously inclined otherwise than the other man. The two businessmen are at war. So destroy Boston, destroy his credibility, and so you can allow your man who you're in bed with, your businessman, to flow and to be believable.
Yeah, and somebody's asking the question here, and let me address it, because somebody's saying, and I've said before about the immigration and RSS. I don't know, and this is based on all that was revealed. I don't know that any RSS personnel was here in the first instance. They said so. They tell so much lies that you can't believe. Because as I've indicated before, this person or persons never presented to the media, which is the norm for something like this. The man would have come, they would have given a name, the man might have held a press conference, at least at the end, if not before, at the end, when the review would have done. And he would have made certain statements. We can't see this man, so this is a phantom, this is a ghost. This is a ghost. We can't see the report. Again, ghost. So no name, no person that you can look at, you can ask a few questions to understand where you're going. It's the same thing with this foreign review team that they're talking about. I have not seen anything. I don't know if any name was mentioned, where the team comes from, what is the terms, the reference to the team. Nothing is there. It's just what they release from the Home Affairs Ministry and all that is saying. It's just what they're saying. And if you recall, even with the last release on the Home Affairs Ministry, a day or two before the release was given, when the media asked him about it, he didn't know if the report was completed, and he didn't know anything. But yet still within a very short time thereafter, his ministry could have released what it claims are the key findings of the report. Well, tell that to the Marines. Tell them, because to me, it is BS. And until the report is made public and we see the report, I am not going to believe anything that they say. Because in any event, the release lacks any type of sense and credibility. You're saying that the people release this thing, and the first key point is that Boscom thing is AC. But I have said before, and I'm saying it again for I know enough young policemen following and so on. When you're doing an investigation, that you might be AC in terms of the investigation, but that leads you on to other witnesses. So if the person who made a particular statement, in your estimation, well, he didn't see, that he didn't hear this thing, he is telling you what somebody else might have seen or somebody else might have told him. Well, if you're an investigator, you have to follow the lead and go to the person who might have seen or who might have heard. You can't just say what Boscom said is AC and therefore he has no provenance or something like that. There's rubbish. That is not the way. And I am sure any investigator worth its salt, especially somebody they hinted that the person came from the Metropolitan Police of the UK and some chief inspector. Anybody worth its salt would know that. Any investigator, because it's investigation 101. First page of the book, you're doing the investigation, they will tell you that. So until these persons are presented, I am not going to believe. And I say again, And we ain't talking much about the murder. The murder of Ricardo Fagundes, called Paper Shorts, has to be properly investigated. Has to be properly investigated, because you remember that when the thing started, there wasn't no footage. Somehow the CCTV cameras weren't working. That is that is back when the murder took place. And yet still, more recently, we see that in the same key points from the RSS, this phantom report from the RSS, they're saying that CCTV footage tend to show that a witness in this matter was lying. So where does CCTV footage come from now? The public needs to know all these things. But I say this is like quicksand. This is like quicksand. The more they fight up, the more they wriggle, is the faster they are sinking. And I know how they operate. They're hoping that this thing is going to blow over. So you get cricket now with all the jubilation and all the carnival activities. Marshall Montana and all these people will tend to forget. But we ain't going to forget. I ain't forgetting. I will make sure that it is highlighted. And I urge all right-thinking Guyanese to follow the likes of Robinson and to highlight. Wrong is wrong. As I said, fraud is fraud. And we should not sit back and allow these things to go and not make our voices heard. Let me understand this thing clearly. We should not. We should not. And I say again to a proper investigation into the murder. And in terms of the allegation made by Sergeant Boscom, a proper commission of inquiry. So all of them who telling lies, who writing statements and tell lies, all right, go before a commission of inquiry, pick up the Bible, the Gita, the Quran, or whatever, or a form if you don't want to swear, a form, and tell them that the same thing. And the big difference here is that they would know that if they're found lying, they can be charged for perjury under the Criminal Law Offences Act. Also, at a commission of inquiry, the commissioners will have the legal authority to subpoena documents, telephone records, books, and records they can subpoena. Or you know, ordinary investigation, you get them powers, and the people are going to lie. They are pathologically mendacious, right? And in all of this, when you look at what Boscom has said and continues to say, and what they are saying, I am telling you, I try not to be biased, try to be objective, but I believe Boscom because his story is more consistent. And some revelations over the past week, Mr. Conway, I know if you remember, you see that. I now learned, I did not know this before, that long before, because the RSS is what trying to say, or that is what the ministry is saying that the RSS has said, that Boscom only made these allegations because he was found in a compromising situation where he was arrested by Kanu on a drug raid. But as it's been revealed now, long before the drug raid, Boscom reported this matter to the then acting commissioner, Mr. Nigel Appy. Boscom reported the matter to the Home Affairs Minister, Mr. Robeson. Boscom reported the matter to the President, Mr. Irfan Ali. Boscom went on to say that even at a meeting, a face-to-face meeting with the minister, and even though he can't remember the exact date, he said it was the same day that the police had the Cooker Prize competition, but it is credibility. That is credibility. CC, help me out.
Yes, Paul. And unlike you, I would say the RASS did not, or I would say they did not come here to do any investigation. I honestly believe that they had to review, and maybe what they did, they send the statements and other things that they had to them. And perhaps they just call in an Englishman, put him up at the Jolly Roger Resort in Antigua, and he did a we call a statement analysis. I remember when I was with the FBI, we had activities practically dealing with statement analysis. And we had to analyze some statements from, of all persons, Louis Freeh is the director of the FBI, both oral and written. and they were very revealing. So man could sit down at the Jolly Roger resort on a couple Caribbeans, drink them out, and send back the same thing to them and say, hey, I give a spirited report.
Yeah, you are so correct. And especially as we are saying in light of the fact that this person was never presented to the public. So we don't know. I don't know that he was in Guyana to do any review. Home Affairs, as I said, Home Affairs said so. I'm believing not wanting what the Home Affairs minister and the ministry have said. But you're right. You're right. And so therefore, again, a proper commission of inquiry. And I can understand now, having listened to Boscom recently about all of these places that he went to, Appy, he went to Robeson Bend, he went to the president. I could understand now why they're trying to duck and dance, because they're all involved in some way or the other. Because even if
Paul, he said he went to Watsu.
oh yes, he said, and again, credibility, because the man said he went to court at Leonora. These are things any investigator can easily verify. He said on a particular date he went to court at Leonora and he saw Mr. Watts. I think Mr. Watts would have been the commander at the time. And he told him of this allegation. There's also evidence that way back in February, he met with a journalist, a reputable journalist, and made a recording in which all of these allegations were made. So for the RASS to come in now and tell people that, look, you're only making these allegations now because sometime recently he was caught in an uncompromising position where he was arrested by Kanu, is rubbish. It's rubbish. It does more harm to the whoever made the report than to Boscom. Because the evidence is there, consistent reporting of the same thing. Consistent reporting. And let me say this, because the thought has occurred to me, and some people have mentioned, have they really thought about doing polygraphing all the parties? I mean, polygraph is not, in most cases, not going to be accepted in court. And for the viewers and listeners, when we talk about polygraphing, we talk about lie detector tests. So, at least as an investigation tool, it has been found to be very, very useful. So, have they really thought of making sure that all of these people who turned shaggy, it wasn't me, I wasn't there, have they really thought about giving them a polygraph, a lie detector test to see who telling the truth and who ain't telling the truth? Have they thought maybe, and the same man who telling that we are offering solutions and we are making recommendations, there's a recommendation. That is a recommendation to get some credible company to do a polygraph of all of the forces. And as we are doing the polygraph, can we polygraph Mr. Sue as well at the same time? That might be interesting. That might be interesting to polygraph Mr. Sue at the same time. Mr. Conway.
Paul, perhaps they've learned, from previous issues where they had polygraph tests. They polygraphed them in the U.S. Embassy in Georgetown, and over 90% of them fail. So, and I'm talking about senior officers who are the top, and they fail. So they wouldn't want to do another polygraph test. No way.
Well, I agree, because you rightly said some very senior ones, they were polygraphed, and some very, very senior ones there now fail the polygraph test. Fail. So their credibility is more at stake than Mr. Boscom's credibility. They are the ones who got to be. Well, we should continue to advocate for these matters. And when I said these matters, the murder and the allegations made by Boscom to be properly investigated. We should continue to advocate for that. I will continue to speak out and continue to call. And we have hundreds of viewers here right now. And I say to all of us that if we are interested in law and order, we should ensure that this matter is properly investigated. Forget about all the enough platitudes and all the sloganeering and all of that. This thing has done a lot of damage to the police force, to Guyana. The Boscom allegation, the Sugate allegation, a lot of harm to the image of Guyana. I know because people have been asking me and people have been saying things which suggest that, look, people have lost faith in the system. And when people start to lose faith in a system, especially the system related to law and order, anarchy will rule. And that is the time, remember the Attorney General referred to us as anarchists? That is the time when they're going to see the real anarchists coming out. So I'm saying it's in the interest of every law-abiding Guyanese to make sure that this matter is properly resolved. That is nonsense when they're trying to pull wool over people like tell them what the RA says do, and then they get some set of investigators. People don't know who they are, where they come from, what they're looking at. You don't know. You don't know. So again, I want to say that we should continue to highlight this matter. Mr. Conway, closing remarks from you, please.
We can, we must, and we will continue to advocate. There must be an inquiry into Boscom allegation and a proper inquiry into the death of paper shorts. Paul, you're a cricket fan. I'm a cricket fan. Cricket is here, and I hope that the police have proper system in place. I hope they had the operation order to look at events before the match, during the match, and more particularly after the event. Don't forget what happened at Rising Sun. Don't forget what happened at West Coast Barbies after that, during that fiasco. We hope that they look. I listened to Bodram, and Bodram spoke about activity, about police action during the match, but he was very, very silent about activity after the event. So I hope that they have taken heed. I hope they have listened to our recommendations, contrary to what the man said, we're not making recommendations, so that they can be more efficient and effective.
Thanks, very well. Thanks much, Mr. Conway. Thanks for your input. Always well thought out. Always well thought out. Folks, I want to close by again saying to you that, and I endorse what Mr. Conway said about the current activities in Guyana, because you see, you have to understand, and I used to be involved in this type of activities until recently, because these people, the cricketers, the commentators, and all of these people have traveled several countries. They went to St. Kitts, they went to, recently they went to St. Lucia, they went to Trinidad, now they're in Guyana, and you can't help, it's human, they're going to make comparisons to see how things are done. So you need to be on top of your game. You need to be on top of the game, because remember, it's not only about the cricket, it's about other activities in the country as well. People will look to see the traffic. They will look to see how people walk on the streets. They look to see everything, and those cameras don't miss anything, you know. It's an opportunity to showcase your country, but it's also an opportunity for negative things to be highlighted. Because I am sure that people would have been given advisories. Only recently, the Americans, in terms of the same cricket, issued an advisory to avoid crowd because of unsavory activities that can occur. And I know, as I said, I used to be involved. Those cricketers, the media operatives, the broadcast people would have been briefed. And we have to make sure, and I said we, the police and Guyanese as a whole, have to make sure that we up our game. I want to say too, as I've been saying, COVID is still around. Be safe. Do all the protocols, because I can tell you that even when you observe all the protocols, you can still get touched. So make sure that you observe all the protocols. Monkeypox was around. They have said that the 2 cases have been discharged, but still take the necessary precaution. All of you are here, all the oranges who are here, I want to tell you again, go to YouTube and subscribe to the channel, please. You're trying to get this thing more popular. It's getting popular every day. I can see from the numbers. Only this morning, a man came and he said he's a first-time viewer, right? He's a first-time viewer. We recognize that 11 o'clock on a Wednesday might not be the most convenient time, so that is why we encourage you to go to YouTube, because once you go to YouTube, the programs are there. All the programs are there for you to be able to view in your own time. So I ask you again, I implore, go to YouTube, subscribe. I'm going to get a notification when you subscribe. So I'm going to know who trying to cock me and who are being truthful. So go, please, subscribe to the channel. And if you hit the notification button when you are there, then you're going to get the notification when the program goes live. Because people have been saying to me, they don't know when the program goes live. So if you go to YouTube, you subscribe, and there's a little bell at the bottom to the right. We call that the notification button. If you hit the notification button, every time Speaking Out goes live, you will get a notification that the program has gone live, so that you will not be able to miss any program. So do that for me, please, and have a good day. And God spare life. John, I see you. John, you just subscribed. Oh, you did the subscription, but the subscription for you, John, is not enough. You gotta catch up. You gotta catch up and we'll talk some name. I know you like talk name. But you can talk the name and I can listen. So you can talk name and I can listen. But we gotta catch up at some stage to gaff, who will gaff, and so on. So please, and all things being equal, God spare life. Next week, Wednesday, is the 28th of September at 11 o'clock. God's willing, we'll be here for another program of Speaking Out, exposing corruption and incompetence. Until then, bye.